Hello. It's almost 1 in the morning. 12:53 to be exact. September 12th. And I'm just sitting here and thought I'd make a video because I'm kind of bored, feeling lonely, and trying to think of an idea for a video. And so maybe I thought I would tell a story. Maybe it's dark in here, I think, and I say I think because I'm not sure if the computer really lights up anything. But everyone's sleeping. I made some tea. And it feels good, the tea, because it's a little bit chilly in here. My kids like to keep the air on. I can't believe summer is coming to an end already. I think fall starts like September 22nd. Yeah, it's like the day after Ayani, my daughter's birthday. Can't believe she's gonna be 11. Insane. How time goes so fast. I remember when I found out I was having a girl. I was so happy. I was going through an emotional time. What's new? Just kind of different levels of it, I guess. But I was so happy. Nothing could take that joy, or I don't know. Each time I found out I was pregnant, I was honestly happy. No matter what was going on in my life, in my relationship, I felt so blessed because I always wanted a baby. I always wanted to be a mother. And I thought, because I was blind, that I wouldn't be blessed with kids. That there's no way that someone would want to have a baby with me. I know that sounds stupid, right? Like, that sounds really low self-esteem, but it's not that. It's just, let's see, so I lost my sight when I was 10. They knew something was wrong. For years I went to eye doctors and had test after test after test. They didn't know what it was. They knew when I was a baby. I'm not exactly sure how they knew, because I had vision until I was 10. Maybe I didn't focus correctly. I really don't know. I even remember my parents showing me these tiny little baby glasses, like super tiny. And I was wondering then, when they showed them to me, because I was really young, but I probably was about, I don't know, 5, 6 years old. And they showed me these little glasses, and I'm thinking, how would that help a baby? Like, how could they even tell you if that helps? And then they always tried to get me to wear glasses, but they never helped. I always found them to be annoying, embarrassing, and just irritating. The way they would squeeze me behind my ears, the way their glasses would pinch my nose at the top, how ugly and thick they were. And if they helped my vision, then I would have worn them, but they didn't help, so I felt like, what's the point? And as I look back on it, how my personality is, how my heart is, I always want others to feel better, okay, and I don't want pity. I have, pride is not good, but I do have some, and I'm working on not being so, not, I don't know, I'm more open to, I'm just saying, backing off the pride thing, because for so many years, I always felt like I have something to prove, and I still do at Campfire. Because I can't see, I'm always trying to show the world that I'm normal. So, anyway, I remember losing my sight. I would squint to see. I used to play video games. Mario Brothers was my go-to game. And yeah, I used to play Duck Hunt because it came on the same cartridge as Super Mario Brothers. And I used to love it. I mean, I learned that game from start to finish. It was awesome. And I think I played it like every day, all the time. It was satisfying, it was fun. I don't know. When I was smaller, I remember, I think it was Atari or something, but I don't remember what I used to play on that. But Mario Brothers was my game. I also remember going to school, and I was a little bit older, not quite 10 yet, but a little older. And I remember going around the table, and there are these pie tins full of different paint. We were going to finger paint. And the teacher obviously knew I was losing my sight. So she was walking around the table, and she was asking me what each color was. And I remember I could see the white paint. I could see, I think it was the red paint, and I just remember it was fading. I remember not being able to exactly tell the colors, and that was hard. I remember my aunt Donna, God rest her soul, she's not with us anymore. It used to irritate me to my core, and forgive me, I always say God forgive me for that, but she used to hold up fingers and ask, how many fingers are you holding? Am I holding up? And I got so irritated by it. And I just wanted to start crying and just wish that someone would say to leave me alone or stop. And I feel bad saying that now, but I was little, and this is traumatic, you know. And she didn't mean anything by it. I mean, I look back on it and I think it was hard for her to accept. Maybe hard for my parents to accept. And maybe she had hope that this isn't happening, you know. I don't know. I could be analyzing too much as I do, but I'm working on that too. But it hurt. All of it hurt. And I remember learning how to read Braille. I remember the teacher handing me a page of all these dots. And I was like, what is this? I remember this day like yesterday. She said it's Braille. It's a way for people who can't see to read. And you're going to learn Braille so that you can read and or continue reading. I was like, oh my God, okay. It took me, I think, like 2 months to learn Braille. It was kind of exciting learning Braille. I had that little positive mindset with that. There was an actual way to read, and even that young, I thought that was, cool. That was something. I'm not going to lose my reading because I could still read Braille. But even given that, everything that came with it, once I lost my sight, I had to have mobility, which is when they teach a visually impaired person to walk around with a cane using techniques, because you don't just take a cane and swish it around. And you have to learn how to use it on different textures of ground and, with steps and different, sidewalks and things like that. There are different techniques so that the cane doesn't get stuck in the ground, or so you don't miss something or fall in a hole. I used to be so ashamed and so embarrassed. And it was really hard. I mean, when I was small, it was hard, but it got harder, I would say, around high school. That was my hardest time. It's already hard trying to fit in, trying to feel quote unquote normal, trying to learn who you are and be accepted. A lot of the time in high school, I sat alone. I felt alone a lot of the time, even when I was with people, because I felt left out. I did meet a couple of good friends in high school when I was going to high school. But most of the time, I was sitting outside of a building by myself at lunch, at nutrition, which was, the break time. I don't know if they call it that in some places still. I used to hate going to school. It's hard being visually impaired at that age. I mean, it's hard at any age for different reasons. I got led to wrong places. People would move my stuff. Even teachers weren't always the nicest. I remember one teacher I always talk about in high school. One day, my friend and I weren't even really that late. I don't even know if we were late. Her name was Mary. We went to the classroom. The lights were off. She could see, obviously. She could see the lights were off. She's like, maybe they're at an assembly. So we went to see if they were at an assembly. Maybe there was an announcement we missed or something. And one of the I don't know what you would call him, I guess a dean or something, told us, no, there's no assembly today. They're probably in there, maybe they're watching something. So we go back over there, knock on the door, and sure enough, they were in there watching something. They opened the door, and she saw, well, you guys are gonna have detention, you guys were late. So at the time, they gave us detention for being late or tardy. And she tells me, well, we go. The dean refused to give us detention because he saw that we were there on time. He's like, it wasn't even about anything other than he knew we were there because we went over there seeing if they were at an assembly. We go back to the classroom, and she's like, well, Cecilia, how does it feel to be treated like everyone else? And I was just thinking to myself, for one, I'm completely humiliated in front of the entire classroom. That's also where I met my kid's dad. And I just felt so ashamed and so small. And all I could think about was, lady, you have no idea what I go through all the time. You know, and she barely knew me, really. But for some reason, I don't know, that teacher had it out for me because she always, and she had the same name as me. Her name was Cecilia as well. And I don't know if in her head she was trying to supposedly treat me normally, but there was always just not a good vibe there. I mean, sometimes it took a while to get Braille books in the lessons that we were taking, in the books that we needed. And when I say we, I mean blind people. So in this particular class, it was English, and the resource teacher, the teacher that helps the visually impaired, he had already placed the order for the textbooks. It hadn't arrived yet. She told me I just didn't want to do the work. And English happened to be my favorite subject. It still is. I may not sound like it, but I love English. I love stories, especially fantasy. I love reading. And I always tried my best. I still do. But in high school, back to that, when she told me you just didn't want to do your work, it bothered me because, yeah, I did want to do it. I didn't want to fall behind. You know, again, being blind makes you feel like you have to prove yourself 10, 20 times as hard because people think that you can't. You know? And trust me, it does get tiring being blind. Having to wake up and see the same thing every day. When I was younger, I used to really be interested in space and looking at the stars. And, hold on one second. One of my children are FaceTiming me. Hold on. Anyway, that was very weird. I don't know if I accidentally laid on it or what, but nobody was awake. And the notification I get is like when someone FaceTimes, well, when they FaceTime me. So I guess my son might have accidentally laid on it. Anyway, seeing the same thing all the time. It's hard to explain, but that's where I was. I used to like looking at the sky, the moon. I even remember when that started fading. And, hold on. I just really, you miss those things, and I'm starting to get a little bit better, but it was really getting to me for a while recently. I mean, it hurts. People ask, do you know what your kids look like? And yeah, for the most part, but I've never actually seen them. And when they ask me those questions like, don't you wish you could see your kids? It's like, of course I do. I know they're beautiful. I know they're beautiful. And it's not fair. Like, I want to see, excuse me, their facial expressions, their smiles. I don't want them to cry, but even their tears I want to see. Just their awesome faces. And when people ask me that, I don't think they realize that it kind of, I mean, sometimes more than others, depending on how I'm feeling, hurts, But sometimes it's just like, okay, here we go again. I used to get all the time, how do you take care of them? And it's like, I just do. Before I had my oldest son, I always took care of babies in my family. I've always had a love for babies, kids. I mean, they bring me joy. Some family members may have acted a little, I'm sorry, for lack of a better word, dumb when it came to that. Like, if I was gonna drop their baby or something, but for the most part, they always trusted me with babies because they knew that I could take care of them. I always say that, well, my first experience continuously up close with a baby was my niece, Celeste, my oldest niece. I was 10 when she was born, and so it was around the time I was losing my sight. And I remember her little face, her little beady eyes, her cute little face. I seriously remember her. And I used to say she was my first real doll, because I was little. I used to love dolls. I used to always want to hold her. And I did. She used to sleep with me. I used to rescue her when she was getting bigger and in trouble with her parents. And she's one of the last people, she was a baby at the time, I remember seeing. I remember what my parents, I remember what my parents looked like, my sister. And even my grandma. I always remembered my dad with his beard. And when he didn't have it, I thought he looked weird. His hair, his salt and pepper hair. I remember. And yeah, it's just thinking about memories. I'm like, I dream in color. And I think it's because I used to be able to see. So I do dream in color, and people that I've never seen, I guess it's what my mind kind of perceives them as. I don't know if that's the right word. But like if someone's in my dream that's not from my past, then I just kind of see them how I think they would look, I guess. And it's crazy. I'm going to tell you something. Every time, I'm usually right. When I hear a guy's voice, I know when he's cute. I just know what I'm attracted to, but I mean, I just think that, and even with women too. I mean, I like men. I mean, no knock against, whatever. But I'm just saying, it's just weird. And there is the side of it where I know I need to look at the blessings, but it's hard to say the blessings of being blind. But the good thing, or what I can, and I do have to take positive from it, or else it could torture you all the time, not being able to lift this and just see. As I guess better insight to people. I mean, sometimes that could even be clouded as it would with anyone. But filling people out from their spirit, their conversation, what means something to them versus the shell, the outer shell, what they look like, what they have, who, it's more about their character. And I'm not saying I don't appreciate, a nice, whatever. I'm not here to talk about the shallow part, but I just want to say, just to let people know that even though I'm blind, I'm still very much aware. I'm very much aware of my body and myself and how I want to be seen as attractive and heard. I mean, inside as well as the outside, It's hard to explain, but a lot of times people think that you're just not the same because you cannot see. I mean, how do you ask a grown woman, do you dress yourself? How do you take care of your kids? I mean, I can understand to some degree, and, I've been told several times to be understanding because not everybody knows. They just don't know, and I get that. I get it. It's just hard always having to explain that you're enough, or to explain that you can. And I mean, sometimes it's degrading. You feel belittled, you feel like a child when you have to wait on people, or you can't just drive to the store, or drive to go to your friend's house, or just go for a walk by yourself. Because yes, it's possible. Yes, you can take a cane and go for a walk, but I mean, you have to think about safety, especially as a young woman. I mean, a young man too. I mean, I don't want to say it's worse, but as a young woman, we are a target. And I don't know. You just have to you have to be aware of those things. So you can't just go for a walk. Sometimes you feel closed in because of that. But most of all, you just get tired of not being able to see. It's so frustrating. My daughter draws, and I can't see her drawings. When I was with my kid's father, you know, he created art that I couldn't see. And my uncle's an artist. That means a lot to artists, you know, and my daughter is a true artist. You know, she's been into art since she was a baby. But I mean, she shows me her art in other ways. She's very creative. She's crafty. She builds things. She makes things so that I can feel them. She's amazing. She truly is amazing. And, you know, but I still wish I could see that everyone's impressed by her art. Their biggest hobby is video games. But I mean, it's not all bad. All of that aside, I get to talk to them. They open up to me about anything, really. I won't go into detail about things right now, but that's there. Music. We love, you know, different kinds of music. You know, I open their mind to different music and they do the same. I'm talking from like just anything, you know, from classical to rap to R&B to... I've been liking country for a while because, well, I've been liking country for the past year. But my number one love is R&B, and we just share music, and we love movies and watching movies. Animals, my kids love animals like I do. Like if we could have a farm, we would. And I just want the best for them. Yeah, I'm blind, but I don't want them to just see me as that. I don't want to be just that to anyone. I want to be more because I feel like I have more to offer. I try. I am hard on myself. I am critical of myself. I hear that's a Virgo thing. But I know that ever since I lost my sight, I became really brutally hard on myself. On everything. I'm still that way. To a fault. It can cause a lot of pain. There is beauty in it. And some days I have to fight to see that, and I don't mean because, you know, with my kids, they're a blessing every day. They're beautiful, but I mean within myself. I always feel like I have to explain because I don't want anyone thinking like, oh, then you shouldn't have your kids because you can't deal with the whole blind thing or you can't take care of them. Oh, I do everything. I cook. I clean. I may not clean all the time, but but I do. I like to clean when I'm by myself and put music on, because I'm really thorough since I'm doing everything by feel. I like, to do that. And I do love cooking. If I'm sad, it's harder to cook, so I might make something quick. Like chili dogs or spaghetti. And they like it. They like that. But anyway, there's so much more I could express. But no, it's not easy being blind every day. Waking up to the same thing. Not seeing colors, facial expressions, body language. But you do try to hear and listen clear. Feel vibes and spirits, souls. When people talk to you, you get a feel for who they are. When I meet someone, within the first 5 minutes or so, I can really tell a lot about them. And for some reason, they tend to open up to me, and I feel that's a blessing, and I hope that doesn't ever stop. But I'm not, a popular person. I don't have friends that call and want to just hang out. I don't, not many. I don't know, I feel like I don't fit in a lot of the time, because I think when you lack the ability to share eye contact, it throws people off. Or maybe I'm just odd, I don't know. But it feels awkward sometimes when I'm trying to have a conversation with someone in person. And it just gets silent or quiet because I don't know why. And I think that has a lot to do with the whole vision thing. You want to be appealing, no matter if you're blind or not. And some blind people really don't care as much. They really don't. They really don't. Like, they'll throw on anything to wear, and they won't care if they look silly by filling all over the table and possibly knocking someone's drink over and just, that kind of thing. But a lot of those, like myself, do care and do want to present ourselves well and let the world know that we're normal. We want to smell good, look good, feel good. We want to be desired, and we want to be looked at as a human being most of all. And looked at as an adult human being when you are older. Just with respect. We just want to feel whole. And yeah, you should make yourself feel that way, and no one can make you feel a certain way or complete this or that. But believe me, the world can be pretty harsh when you have a disability. And we hate labeling ourselves. Anyway, I think I've gone on too long. Thank you if you're still listening. I really appreciate it, and I'll pour my heart out more. Hopefully you like this campfire noise here in the background. God bless you. Be strong. We all have our insecurities and our imperfections. But that's what makes us all awesome, because we're different. Yeah, that sounds like a after-school special, but it's true. Show me one person that's perfect. Anyway, I have dreams, I have goals. I want to be married, I want to be a better person, I want to be loved, I want to love, I want the best for my kids first and foremost. I want them to feel and be not just okay, but great. I wish the best for anyone that has been in my world or path, and I have a lot of love in my heart. A lot of pain, but a lot of love. Definitely a lot of love. Anyway, seriously, I'm gonna try to get some rest, I guess. Thanks for listening. If you listen to this entire video, then what could I say? One of my favorite animals are horses, but I love all animals. So maybe you can. Never mind, not you guys aren't gonna comment. Thank you for watching or listening.